Scary telling.
I had always been fascinated by the deep sea, the unexplored depths of the ocean that held so many secrets and mysteries. So when Dr. Jenna Kim invited me to join her team of scientists on a mission to search for new species of deep-sea creatures, I jumped at the chance. We boarded the submarine and began our descent into the dark abyss. As we descended further and further, the water grew murkier, and I could feel the pressure building up around us. My heart raced as I wondered what kind of creatures we might encounter. Dr. Kim, our leader and chief biologist, was calm and composed, her eyes fixed on the screens in front of her. She was excited at the prospect of discovering new species that could revolutionize the world of marine biology. But as we continued our descent, I noticed a growing sense of unease among the team. The first sign of trouble came when one of our screens flickered and went dark. We tried to troubleshoot the issue, but before we could do anything, another screen went out. And then another. The unease grew into panic as more and more of our equipment failed. I could feel the tension in the air as we all wondered what was happening. Dr. Kim ordered us to stay calm and focused, but it was becoming clear that something was very wrong. As the darkness outside grew thicker, we all strained to see any signs of life. And then, suddenly, we saw a massive, shadowy figure moving towards us. At first, we thought it was a new species we had discovered, but as it grew closer, we realized it was much larger and more menacing than anything we had ever seen. The creature slammed into the submarine, causing it to shake violently. We all scrambled to hold on as more creatures appeared, attacking the vessel from all sides. Dr. Kim ordered us to fight back, using whatever tools we had at our disposal. Despite the chaos, I could feel the excitement building inside me. This was what I had come for, the thrill of discovery, the rush of adrenaline as we faced unknown dangers. But as the creatures continued to attack, our situation became more and more dire. The submarine began to fill with water, and the scientists knew we were running out of time. As we struggled to regain control of the submarine and repair our equipment, I wondered what kind of horrors lay ahead in the dark, murky depths of the ocean. But I also knew that we were a team of highly trained scientists, and if anyone could survive this, it was us. The creatures outside the submarine were unlike anything I had ever seen before. They were massive, their shadows looming over us as they slammed into the vessel, causing it to shake violently. We all scrambled to hold on as more and more of the creatures appeared, attacking us from all sides. I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins as I tried to fight back with whatever tools I had at my disposal. But it quickly became clear that we were outnumbered and outmatched. The creatures were incredibly strong, and their attacks were strategic, trying to disable the submarine and its crew. Dr. Kim ordered us to work together, using our collective knowledge to come up with a plan. We tried everything we could think of, but the creatures were relentless. I could see the fear in my colleagues' eyes as we struggled to survive. We all knew that this was not a normal scientific mission, it was a fight for our lives. As the creatures continued their assault, I could feel the panic rising inside me. What if we didn't make it out of this alive? What if we were all doomed to perish in the dark depths of the ocean? But despite the fear and uncertainty, I knew that we had to keep fighting. We had to do whatever it took to survive and make it back to the surface. The creatures outside the submarine seemed to be getting more aggressive, their attacks growing in intensity. We could hear the sound of their bodies slamming into the vessel, causing it to creak and groan under the pressure. I could see Dr. Kim working frantically to come up with a solution. She was always cool under pressure, her mind sharp and focused even in the face of danger. But as the minutes ticked by, it became clear that our situation was becoming increasingly dire. The submarine was taking on water, and the creatures were still attacking us from all sides. I wondered what kind of creatures they were and where they had come from. Were they some kind of undiscovered species, or had they been lurking in the depths of the ocean all along, waiting for their chance to strike? As the battle continued, I could feel my energy draining. We were all exhausted, both physically and mentally. But we knew that we had to keep fighting if we were going to survive. And then, suddenly, one of the creatures slammed into the submarine with such force that it caused a massive explosion. I could feel the shockwave reverberating through the vessel as everything went dark. For a moment, I thought we were all dead. But then the emergency lights flickered on, casting an eerie glow over the chaos that surrounded us. We were still under attack, but now we were blind and vulnerable, our equipment and systems down. I knew that things had just gone from bad to worse. As the emergency lights flickered on, casting an eerie glow over the chaos that surrounded us, I knew that we were in deep trouble. We were blind and vulnerable, our equipment and systems down, and the creatures outside were still attacking us from all sides. I could hear the sound of water gushing into the submarine as we struggled to regain control. Dr. Kim ordered us to work together to fix the equipment and fight off the creatures, but it was becoming increasingly clear that we were fighting a losing battle. The creatures outside were not attacking randomly, they were strategic, trying to disable the submarine and its crew. I could see the fear in my colleagues' eyes as we realized the gravity of our situation. We tried everything we could think of to fight back, but the creatures were relentless. We used whatever tools we had at our disposal, but it was like trying to fight a wave of water with a spoon. Dr. Kim, our leader, remained calm and focused, her mind working frantically to find a solution. She consulted with each of us, gathering our collective knowledge to come up with a plan. I could feel the tension in the air as we all worked together to repair the equipment and fight off the creatures. We knew that our lives depended on it. But as the minutes ticked by, it became clear that our situation was becoming increasingly dire. The submarine was taking on water, and the creatures were still attacking us from all sides. Dr. Kim ordered us to try and lure the creatures away from the submarine, giving us some breathing room to repair the equipment and assess the damage. We set up a decoy using some of our equipment, hoping to distract the creatures and buy ourselves some time. It worked, at least for a little while. The creatures were momentarily distracted, giving us a chance to fix some of the equipment and come up with a new plan. But it was like trying to plug a dam with a finger. Every time we repaired one system, another one failed. And the creatures outside were always there, attacking us and causing more damage. I could see the hopelessness in my colleagues' eyes as we struggled to survive. We were all exhausted, physically and mentally, and it seemed like there was no end in sight. But Dr. Kim refused to give up. She worked tirelessly, using her knowledge and expertise to try and find a solution. And slowly but surely, we started to make progress. We managed to fix some of the equipment, and we found ways to fight back against the creatures. We worked together, using our collective knowledge and expertise to stay alive. But as the hours turned into days, we knew that our situation was still incredibly precarious. The creatures were still out there, waiting for us, and the submarine was taking on more and more water. We knew that we were running out of time, and that if we didn't find a way to escape soon, we would all be doomed to perish in the dark depths of the ocean. As the hours turned into days, our situation became increasingly dire. The creatures outside were relentless, their attacks growing more and more intense. We were running out of food and water, and the submarine was taking on more and more water. Dr. Kim ordered us to activate the emergency beacon and send out a distress signal. We knew that the rescue team wouldn't arrive for several days, and we were running out of time. As we waited for rescue, we continued to fight off the creatures. But it was like trying to hold back a tide with a broomstick. The creatures were everywhere, attacking us from all sides and causing more and more damage to the submarine. I could feel the hopelessness creeping in as I wondered if we were all going to die. But Dr. Kim refused to give up. She continued to work tirelessly, using her knowledge and expertise to try and find a way out. One of the scientists, Dr. Lee, realized that the creatures were not attacking randomly, they were trying to disable the submarine and its crew. He suggested that we try to lure the creatures away from the submarine to buy some time. We set up a decoy using some of our equipment and managed to distract some of the creatures, but others continued to attack. It was like trying to fight an army of giants with only toothpicks. As the days dragged on, our food and water supplies dwindled. We were all exhausted, both physically and mentally. But we knew that we had to keep fighting if we were going to survive. In a final, desperate attempt to survive, we tried to launch one of the emergency escape pods. But it was damaged in the attack and wouldn't launch. Dr. Kim realized that we were out of options and told us to prepare for the worst. We all gathered together, holding onto each other as we waited for the inevitable. The creatures outside were still attacking, their terrifying presence filling the submarine with horror and despair. I could feel the cold water creeping in, surrounding us and threatening to swallow us whole. We were all scared, but we tried to stay strong for each other. And then, suddenly, we heard a sound. It was the sound of rescue. We all looked at each other in disbelief, wondering if we were imagining things. But then we heard it again, louder this time. It was the rescue team, finally arriving to save us. We all cheered and hugged each other, relief flooding through us. We had made it out alive, against all odds. As the rescue team helped us out of the submarine, we looked around at the devastation that surrounded us. The creatures were gone, leaving behind only a mystery that would haunt us forever. We were all shaken by the experience, but we knew that we had been lucky to survive. And we vowed never to forget the horrors we had faced in the dark, murky depths of the ocean. After our harrowing ordeal in the deep sea, we were all left shaken and traumatized. The experience had changed us, and we knew that we could never look at the ocean in the same way again. We were all taken to a nearby hospital for treatment and evaluation. The doctors and nurses were kind and supportive, but we could see the concern in their eyes as they treated us for our injuries and monitored us for signs of trauma. Dr. Kim, our leader and chief biologist, had suffered the most injuries in the attack. She had multiple broken bones and lacerations, but she remained strong and determined to recover. As we lay in our hospital beds, we couldn't help but think about the creatures that had attacked us. What were they? Where had they come from? And why had they attacked us so viciously? Dr. Kim was determined to find answers. She consulted with other marine biologists and scientists, trying to piece together the puzzle of what had happened on our mission. It was only after several weeks of research and analysis that we finally got some answers. The creatures that had attacked us were a previously undiscovered species of deep-sea monsters. They were incredibly aggressive and territorial, and their attacks on our submarine had been a way to protect their territory. The discovery of the new species was groundbreaking, but it was bittersweet. We had paid a heavy price for this knowledge, and we knew that we could never return to the depths of the ocean without fear and caution. As we recovered from our injuries and trauma, we tried to move on with our lives. But the memories of our experience lingered, haunting us with their dark and terrifying presence. I couldn't help but feel grateful that we had made it out alive. But I also knew that we would never be the same again. We had seen the darkest side of nature, the unrelenting power of the deep-sea monsters that lurk beneath the surface. In the end, we had faced our fears and come out stronger for it. But we also knew that we could never forget the horror of what had happened to us. And we vowed to always respect and fear the power of the ocean, no matter how much we wanted to explore its mysteries.